Hey, welcome to our bonus show. No, but seriously, is that a good name? We okay with that?
Love it.
Okay.
All about it.
Here we're not going to be doing a bit. We're just having a genuine conversation about stuff. And today's topic of that discussion is Space Jam, which we've already kind of touched on. And we're talking about specifically Space Jam 2. So go on.
Well, my man here was just explaining that the first Space Jam was very good at making fun of itself. The fact that the whole movie was just a commercial, that everything was product placement, all that jazz.
And it effectively presented it as like almost a parody of itself because of how self-aware it was, kind of criticizing the fact that the entire... Because the movie, for those of you who don't know the history of Space Jam, which I know front, back, every part of it, there was originally a commercial where Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny played a basketball game, which got optioned to be made into a full-length movie. And the movie itself was pretty much a commercial for itself. And as far as I'm concerned, I say this unironically, like a Citizen Kane of the 90s, where it perfectly encapsulates the zeitgeist of the 1990s.
Yeah.
And I think we're all old enough to kind of remember, especially because it was marketed for children.
Yeah.
And we were children, and that was
like,
what it was like.
Late 90s. When did the movie
96.
come out? 2000?
1996.
It came out in 96. Okay, yeah, so I guess it was late 90s kids. Yeah.
Or wait, it came out in 1998. It said 1996.
Okay.
I double check. You own it, so I'm going to double check.
Yeah, go for it.
Came out, I want to say that...
But yeah, but either way, what I'm worried about in the respective, like in the second movie, is that they're not going to keep that, kind of plucky, make fun of themselves in a creative way kind of a thing. They're either just going to have loads of product placement with shitty dialogue between very good voice actors and who's the basketball star they were going to
LeBron James.
LeBron James,
And
of all fucking
for reference,
people.
I should never second guess myself. It was 1996.
Okay.
About that.
Alright. Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. So this new movie, it's going to be a lot of shitty dialogue between LeBron James and a lot of very talented voice actors who can do these old cartoon voices very well. And I feel really bad for all of them because, they're going to have to be a part of this bullshit.
Here's my issue. Now we're all from the Chicago. Are we all from Chicago itself, or we're
Yeah.
More or less, yeah, born and raised. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we grew up when Michael Jordan was a god. Like when I was growing up, every restaurant you went to had a mural somewhere. Like he was a deity.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize then, because obviously I didn't fucking travel the country, but that was just generally true. Michael Jordan throughout America, to a lesser extent throughout the world, was just a known thing. LeBron James is not famous.
Like Mike Tyson is the most recognizable person in the world. I think Michael Jordan is probably on that same level. I know that was a really weird thing to bring up.
No, yeah.
But I'm just saying, that's how I remember it. I feel like Michael Jordan,
recognition.
global recognition, he's probably one of the most recognizable people in the world.
He's a
LeBron
brand.
James does not have that.
Exactly.
If I saw LeBron James, I honestly don't think I'd know who it was right away. I'd have to be told.
And
that's LeBron James.
I care enough about sports that I probably would. But,
yeah. See, I guess I don't give a shit about sports.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. You don't need to give a shit about sports to care about Michael Jordan.
That's true.
We can litigate whether or not Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James as a basketball player. I personally say yes, but I think, that's not the debate that is relevant. The point of Space Jam was not that he was the best basketball player of the time. It's that he was, in terms of pop culture, the most important human, given the context. Yeah. And Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes were having a huge, popularity spike in the 90s. They were the perfect icons. And today, it would be what was that?
Tiny Toons and all that jazz.
Yeah. Tiny Toon Adventures, which was amazing, by the way. Yeah.
I'm in a legitimate thing here.
That's a solid point. Exactly, and there were Tiny Toons, and then there was also the Baby Looney Tunes, and I can't remember. No, I'm thinking of the Baby Muppets, Muppet Junior.
Tiny Toons is the Baby Looney Tunes.
Yes, no, I'm aware. I know what they technically know. They were related to the Looney Tunes, but Bugs Bunny taught at their school. He was not. I know my shit here.
Looney Babies? Baby Loonies? Looney Babies?
Looney Babies?
I don't think it's Looney Babies.
I don't think so.
Damn it.
No, I know you. Was there a... I'm looking it up.
Regarding Space Jam 2, all I'm really looking forward to is seeing that fine-ass fucking Lola Bunny, dude.
Jesus Christ. Oh wait, no, I was right.
brought up Lola Bunny earlier. We were talking about.
I was 100% right. By the way, there's Baby Looney Tunes and Tiny Tunes.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So they were babies in one, but then Tiny Toon Adventures they were adults, and there were younger ones as well.
Oh.
But yeah, so like today, they're not that. They're not.
Yeah.
The average child is not as aware of the Looney Tunes, and they're not as relevant. So there's two ways you could go about this, in my opinion. Either fuck off with that idea, and you take like the Minions or some shit, and like a Vine star. You find the most relevant people to translate that idea, which they're not gonna do. Or you make
Minions.
Yeah, right.
Who wouldn't want
to see that?
It
would gross an insane amount of money. But that would be what you would do. Alternatively, you make a Space Jam aimed at guys like us. And whenever, like, 30-year-olds complain about the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're fucking stupid because, like, obviously this is for children. But Space Jam isn't a property for children anymore. Children don't give a shit about 1990s Michael Jordan. Their main audience of people who cares about Space Jam today
are the
burnt out millennial dumbasses who have like a podcast. So I think it's a little bit more reasonable to say it should be targeted at like us. And if they're gonna do that, have it just be fucking Michael Jordan again. Have him do it.
See, the thing is, and if he got enough of people like pushing him for it, I feel like Michael Jordan would be down to do another.
There are no redeemable qualities about Michael Jordan after his Hitler mustache. Okay.
No wait. Okay.
No support.
Now hold on.
That was just for the Haynes commercial.
As a Jew, I have some authority here. Jake, a couple of years... I'll censor your name out. You made a very good post about this.
Yeah.
Really?
If you remember what it was, you
can yeah, we need to.
It was
in honor of Michael Jordan's birthday, I believe it was, right?
It was.
Yeah. We should change calling like the tiny mustache, the Hitler mustache. Change it, calling it to the. That was in a sentence. Change it and start calling it the Jordan mustache.
Yeah.
Because that seems more appropriate.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and really, kids these days, teens these days, how many of them know who Hitler is?
How many kids these days were even in the hall? Okay, no, sorry. I can't. This isn't our own podcast. I can't just start spouting bullshit. Okay.
I mean, what? It's not.
It's not incorrect, but it's still a really stupid viewpoint.
No.
But,
genuinely though.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan is not a good person.
And I think of all the people, of all the people, to sport the Hitler mustache, I feel like Hitler would hate Michael Jordan having it the most. So it would kind of be like a big fuck you to Hitler if we just all started doing the Hitler stash again.
You know,
I think it would be really funny to hear people look at like teens in like 20 years look at a photo of Adolf Hitler and be like, oh dude, he's got a Michael Jordan mustache. What a weirdo. What were you gonna say?
I don't know. Something about Mike.
Okay. In terms of
Mike.
Yeah, so I was about to bring that up.
Were you actually about to bring up Mike, right?
Like Mike. So,
Good flick.
Well, it's been a long time. That was Lil Bow Wow, right?
Lil Bow Wow.
I haven't seen that movie in ages.
He played for the Los Angeles Clippers. He lived in a professional basketball player's home.
And I know there was also Aaron Carter's song, I Beat Shaq in One-on-One or whatever.
Yeah.
His song? I thought it was just like for the commercial.
It was released.
It was a good song.
So I feel like, if you want to make the best Space Jam 2, and, hopefully the people at Warner Brothers listen to our shitty podcast that has had one episode at the time of this recording. What you do is you have modern day Michael Jordan brought out of his other retirement to play for the Toon Squad, or, you know, it's not even about basketball, because I think enough people our age would think it would be funny if the movie wasn't even about basketball. But there is a contingency of people who are into Space Jam because they're into basketball, and I respect that. It genuinely, I'm not kidding. I'm going off on a tangent.
Or they really need Michael Jordan to play baseball with him this time.
Oh, that would be
That'd be hilarious.
That would be a really good idea.
It's so fucking boring.
I think there's a real case to make. This is where I get into my bullshit. That Space Jam's the best sports movie of all time. Now, for the listeners at home,
MVP,
if there's anyone who, for some reason,
vertical primate.
Now did you watch that?
I have never actually.
I will lend you MVP 2 Most Vertical Primate, because it is an experience. It has the dude from Home Improvement who isn't Tim Allen. As a skate shop owner, and because it's a kids movie from the 2000s about an animal. Needless to say, the kid is like an orphan kind of thing, where like at least one or two parents is dead, but it's like left vague, because for some reason that's how those movies all work.
Oh yeah.
It's a fucking weird ass movie, but.
You ever watched that fucking movie Kazam with Shaq?
Yes. Oh my god.
So
yes.
bad.
It's so bad.
It's unwatchable. I thought it's like there might be some watchable funny moments because Shaq is a fucking weird rapping genie or whatever.
I personally found it watchable because of that.
It's like 2 seconds of Shaq and then 40 minutes of this kid being really sad about his dad being dead or something.
Because every children's
and then his, like,
movie
stepdad, yeah,
is a scumbag business owner. This is the thing. Modern America.
Why I like Space Jam. It was a nice, loving family with a child that he cared about.
Okay, so my girlfriend. I'm referring to her like that because I'm not going to use her name on the podcast. You know her. Yeah. But she brought up the first time we watched Space Jam together, she blew my fucking mind. She goes, so those weren't his real kids. How did they feel when they watched this movie and their dad had a different family? Because those are like he had kids. Yeah. Those are like their ages and names, and he had a wife, but they were all played by actors. So imagine being Michael Jordan's real-world family.
And thinking, I was like,
it's like, oh. Because, like, you know, you think about it, it's like, obviously Michael fucking Jordan didn't live on a regular street.
No, he would have just lived in, like, some suburban house.
Like, next door.
Story.
Regularly.
The greatest basketball player of all time.
In the peak of his fame. Just like, yeah, I'll live in this random suburb where people just kind of throw
kids in a carpool. Hell no.
Yeah, no. Oh man, they would have Mark David Chapman his ass. Jesus. Oh my point at some point here was I genuinely think there's a case to make for it being the best sports movie of all time because sports are an art. And this is me on my bullshit, but I love sports. That's my thing. No. It's surprising
they're a form
to people.
of entertainment, just like any other form of art.
But we don't appreciate the athletes in sports the same way we appreciate other performers. But like you look at like dance is a sport and an art, but basketball we don't treat it like that. My issue with 90% of sports movies is that they try to put in a narrative and an art that doesn't really capture the pre-existing art in sports. And this is for most people. No one I know is actually going to waste their time listening to this. But if any of them do, they might be shocked based on the way I come off as a person to find out how obsessed I am with sports. But the flu game, I've watched at least like fucking 8 times.
Oh yeah.
I'll pull that up and just rewatch it because that is one of the best sports movies of all time, and it's just the real game. Especially if you watch the original broadcast where they're narrating it and they don't know the outcome and they're saying like, you know, it's John Stockton is the real, you know, the underdog here because he's coming from the Utah Jazz and like all that going on in the beginning. And then Michael Jordan, despite being the greatest basketball player who ever lived, winds up being the underdog in a game and winning. And it's art. It is art, and it's a better movie than most sports movies. Space Jam does not give a shit about sports. And that's how it transcends the stupidity of sports movies while preserving the energy and the vibe of sports movies. Because it says, hey, you know what? All it needs is the narrative. Fuck the sports. here's one of the greatest athletes of any sport that has ever lived, just doing shit. Yeah. And it is
like if you watch the Space Jam game, most of the game that they played is illegal moves and whatnot.
Yeah,
it's
not basketball. It is
who
the
gives a shit about the basketball part of it? Yeah,
they care about the emotions and they care about making it just ridiculous. And it's one of my favorite fucking basketball games of all time because it's like a fucking Harlem Globetrotters game, but minus the laws of physics and plus Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray.
I've been to a Globetrotters game where they've lost.
I am jealous.
How does that happen?
Man, I gotta go with you and I gotta bet when we go because you're bad luck.
The other team was really good, man.
It's like that Simpsons joke where he's like, why would you have bet however many dollars on the oh man, who do they play against? Not the Governors. Is it the Senators?
Yeah, it's like the Nationals or something.
It's the Governors or the Senators. I think it's the Governors.
It's like the Americans.
I thought they would do.
What character is that supposed to be?
Krusty the Clown.
Krusty.
That was a phenomenal Krusty the Clown. Yeah. You should take over for the voice actor once they die.
I could do a Marge Simpson, I think.
Oh, homie.
Oh, homie.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That was actually kind of not terrible, which made it a lot worse.
That's the way it works, right?
Yeah, and so that movie is very good at making fun of itself, which is what I really appreciate in anything, like any form of entertainment. If you realize that this is kind of a silly idea, there's a lot of weird things going on here. Let's just make fun of ourselves. Like the whole part that you were saying, Bill Murray's there, and then like they're explaining like, how did you get here? Like they do a little fourth wall thing or whatever. He's like, oh, I got a good publicist or whatever.
No, he says I knew the producer that was genuine because the guy who like produced it was the guy who made Ghostbusters. Like they actually knew. It's probably the reason he was in the movie. Because think about it, if you're
the
Bill
reason he was
Murray,
in the end. Because, like, I mean, I guess he could have been just, like, friends with Michael Jordan, like, in the real world. But, how Bill Murray got down into the Toon world makes no sense. There's no explanation for it.
Bill Murray it was probably 100% real. Because Ivan Reitman, I think, was one of the producers. He probably actually was like, please get me into this movie. Because, he's a Chicago guy. Yeah. He's not from here originally, but, he's a Cubs fan. Okay, and he's obviously a Bulls fan. This was the 90s. He got to not meet but work with Michael Jordan, who was playing basketball on set the entire time. And he got to be in a movie with him. And in the movie, he got to be instrumental in Michael Jordan winning the game.
It's true, yeah.
Bill Murray's one of the luckiest dudes on earth. Like, goddamn.
Oh, man.
But, like, what was I going to say about all that? Because I had a point to what you were saying, and now I don't know. Oh, I had it and I lost it again. Michael Jordan. I've got a story about Michael Jordan. It's not my story. I think it was David Spade. David Spade had one of my favorite stories.
Actually did.
Oh my god! I didn't realize. We're back to David Spade.
After all this stupid bullshit, we accidentally made it back around to David Spade.
So, if you're not listening, I'm talking to our, 3 listeners. We're recording this immediately after the episode 2 of the podcast, which started with a significant amount of discussion on David Spade. David Spade was on some late night show, and he tells this story where he says where he's saying I was hanging out with Chris Rock, and he found this place where you're not gonna believe this, we could go see a Prince show. Yes. For real. We can go see Prince play this little venue, and they go, people are dancing, and David Spade's it's everyone there. I'm the only white guy, and I don't want to be stupid. I don't want to whatever. So I'm just kind of sitting there trying to watching Prince stoically and not moving. And Michael Jordan's there, and he looks over at David Spade and he goes, "What, are you too cool for Prince?" And just the mental image of Michael fucking Jordan turning to someone and saying, "What, are you too cool for Prince?" That. There's a billion stories of amazing stories of things Michael Jordan said or did during his NBA career. None of them are that for me. No, and I'm a huge fan of Michael Jordan, his basketball career, the art of basketball, but none of the stories of the shit he pulled as a basketball player are as funny to me as that.
What, you're too good for Prince? Jesus Christ.
It's like, what do you fucking say to this? David Spade.
David Spade, 4'7". I don't know how tall he is, but he's short as fuck compared to Michael Jordan.
But yeah.
Oh, that's
you want
great.
a good Space Jam 2. You incorporate all the irony and bullshit and memes that have come from our generation of people. You have Charles Barkley still in there. Michael Jordan's there. All of it is just a complete piss take, and it's as existential and nihilistically depressing as
Honestly,
our lives
even if
are.
he's not a focus of the movie, Michael Jordan kind of needs to be in the movie.
And I wonder
Or
if
else
he'll be there.
Anybody watching it who actually cares about it being a thing is not gonna want to be there because it's like.
What I hope.
I don't know.
Now, if I was in charge, and they wouldn't let me do it my way, like this way that I'm describing, what I would do as a concession is it would just be LeBron James's The Decision, but Bugs Bunny is animated next to him the entire time. That's it.
Wait, LeBron James was in a movie called The Decision?
Did you remember that? He had that whole
it's like
hour-long
ESPN,
TV special about why I'm
where's he
choosing the
going?
next team I'm gonna go to when he finally chose to go to the Cavs. That whole bullshit.
Look, I feel Space Jam 2 needs LeBron, but Space Jam 2 also needs Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. If they want to make any money, he's the bad guy. He is the monster. They go head to head.
Okay, here's a question. How funny would it be? And I think I'd actually see it if they pulled this shit. If it was like the exact same plot of Space Jam, even though it wouldn't apply. But the thing they change, in addition to it being LeBron James, is they do what Disney's doing, where they make live action versions, and the Looney Tunes all look like real animals.
Oh, fuck.
And the Monstars are realistic,
Just
and you have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the mocap suit.
Just horribly.
It's his face on.
That would be... Now, I would pay to see that just for the sake of it. I would. Just to see what the fuck it would look like.
It would ruin the entire purpose of the movie.
It would. It would.
We're going to do a live action version of Space Jam. You know that movie that was half live action?
And that's... Okay.
It's
On
be
this...
all live action.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Because it fucking pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
I have read so many things making fun of Michael Jordan not being able to act as a way of, no pun intended, dunking on Space Jam. And, he genuinely puts out a pretty believable and fine performance as a straight man to Bugs Bunny. And when I rewatched it for the first time as an adult, which was the beginning of the end of my adult life, because I've seen it a million times now as an adult, I was like, oh, it's not gonna be as good as I remembered. And the first thing that struck me was he's fine, he's totally fine. And then you factor in, when you look at the behind the scenes shit, he's the only person in an empty room just having to read his lines to dudes in green screen suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, and
He
this
did
was,
a
and this
great
was
job.
before, doing that kind of stuff really was, as much, everybody now can act to a green screen because that's what you need to do to act now. That's what everything is.
Now, yeah.
But, back in the 90s, it's not everything was shot in green screen. It was new. He had to act in a new way, that people weren't used to. Or at least in a newer, maybe it had been around for a while already, but
in many ways,
Who
Mike
Framed
Jordan
Roger
is a pioneer of film.
You know what? I'm gonna say, unironically, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it definitely.
Because, go on.
Well, I was just gonna say it does a good job of combining the two ideas of the live action and the cartoons without being I don't know, without Michael Jordan either being too over the top or too under the radar. He isn't necessarily he shouldn't have won Actor of the Year or whatever because of that role, but it wasn't bad. It was perfectly fine acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in terms of, like, you compare that to Kazam.
Yeah, Kazam was just...
Compare that to any, like, athlete turned actor. You got, like, John Cena, who's okay-ish, I guess.
He is way too thick.
He
is built like an original He-Man action figure.
Well, yeah, so the thing is, the reason he's popular is because he's a meme. I don't think he would have ever became an actor if he wasn't a meme.
Kudos to Whitest Kids for getting an amazing sketch with him before he became way too big.
Did they get a sketch with John Cena?
Where Trevor's his hands.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Before that would have been impossible.
Yeah.
Because he's too big now.
Yeah.
Physically and conceptually.
But
yeah.
In the trailer.
No, impossible. No. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but like it's like WWE.
Well, so there's maybe a handful of good artists or good like athletes turned actors.
Number one, Mr. T, childhood hero of mine.
Well, I was gonna say about The Rock,
I'm being serious.
I think the point you were about to make in terms of The Rock and other like wrestlers turned actors is that wrestling in itself is a performance. It's not really a sport. It's a performance sport, I guess. I mean, it's very grueling and it's very hard.
It's an athletic endurance. Like they are, they deserve more respect than they get by a long shot. But in addition to that factor, they are actors and they know that. Like I know, like Will Smith kind of talked about how being a rapper helped him be more of an actor, and David Bowie thought of himself as an actor when he was making music, which helped him be an actor when he was an actual actor.
Yeah.
I don't think enough of an emphasis is made in that in sports. Not many athletes think of themselves as performers. And another one that stands out, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, where he was defining an actor.
Dude, he was amazing.
I love him. But, like, so many of them, it's just a matter of, like, either they are or they aren't, and it's not inherent. But, like, a good number of athletes just fucking suck. And, like, you look at just, like TV ads, like the promos they do for, like, Sox and Cubs games where they just have, all they have to do is read the line, like, watch us on CBS. And it's just, like, watch your Chicago Cubs tonight at 6. And it's like, can't you pretend to have emotions? Do you not have them?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too. Yeah, they're more focused on just, being the sports star, not necessarily the personnel. Because whether or not they like it, and whether or not, like, I don't agree that people should necessarily, base their lives off of, the rich and famous or all the, you shouldn't necessarily make your life off of them. But at the same time, while you're in that position, you have to realize a lot of people look up to you. Like, you kind of have to be, you have more or less a happy-go-lucky, or, like, have some sort of character in which you're a good family guy or family man, not family guy. Fuck family guy.
Fuck family guy. You know what's really embarrassing for me to admit, which I assume all of us can say, but I don't know about you, Money Man, because you watch a lot of movies. I'm a huge fan of Dennis Rodman as a basketball player, one of the best performers there ever was. That's one of my favorite kinds of players, which is a guy whose whole thing is just, I'm going to be a fucking asshole. I'm going to piss these guys off. And like him, like AJ Przinsky for the White Sox, just perfectly annoying. And when he's on your side, you're just like, fuck yeah, that guy.
Oh, yeah.
He could have been a great actor, and he did become an actor. And I don't know how that was. And I've never seen a single Dennis Rodman movie. And they apparently all suck ass. But, like, I might disagree because a lot of people think Space Jam sucks ass.
I think he should. I think he has a problem, much the same as Scottie Pippen also has this problem. They have the voice of Satan, okay?
Yeah.
It's grumbled.
Well,
it's like...
That's what I love about Dennis Rodman, is every interview of him,
he's like...
terrifying.
Spitting up phlegm the whole time.
Scottie Pippen is apparently just a fucking miserable asshole.
What?
And that doesn't surprise me all that much, because Michael Jordan's an asshole, but like he earned that. Scottie Pippen was second banana to the greatest player of all time. What he'll never have more of a reputation. He would, any other team, he would be remembered as the best player that team ever fucking had. But because he was on the Bulls, and Bulls fans are like, fuck yeah, he's the guy who's next to Michael Jordan. But we mean that with, like, full respect. Like, really, fuck yeah, Scottie Pippen.
Klay Thompson is today's Scottie Pippen, okay? He can go anywhere he'd like and be the best player, but no, he decides this. He's comfy.
Yep.
He's got rings.
I love Klay Thompson.
He looks like a me character.
Bullshit? People shitting on Kevin Durant for going to the Golden State Warriors. Absolute dog shit.
Hold on. Wait, I do have feelings about this.
Yeah, so do I. Let's have a conversation.
Okay,
here.
so
sorry that this is very sports-centered now.
No, here's the thing. If I was in a position where I am the leader of a team, I'm making the most money I can on the team. That's why you're in it. That's why you work so hard to get the big bucks. Okay, no one's in it to this is my no. Okay, they're in it for the money. They all are. In the Western Conference Finals, them and Golden State, they get spanked. Okay, if I was a loser, I'm sorry. I don't join the winning team.
See, okay.
I'm gonna stay and make more money and still be a contender.
We're talking about dignity here. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Here's my issue. We need to acknowledge, the American people need to acknowledge that you don't need to hide your laughter. This is not, we're not doing a bit here. Trying to contain your laughter.
I just didn't want to cut you off.
Okay.
Yes.
That
sounded like a very important speech.
The playoff system in basketball, pretty much the entire system in basketball, it's not rigged so much, but there is not another major league sport where the same two teams are going to play each other every fucking year.
There's 4 teams to watch out for.
Yeah. And frankly, at that point in time, before LeBron left the Cavs, there were 2 teams to watch out for. Everyone knew it. And if you want to be on a winning team, you have to be on one of those teams. And if you're Kevin Durant, you have what it takes to be on that team. Fuck it. If you're given the opportunity, and maybe it's because I grew up being exclusively a baseball fan, really, except for loving Michael Jordan, which, no joke, again, I'm speaking to our listeners who do not listen, but I was like a really big Jordan fan as a kid because of Space Jam, not because of the Bulls. And it was like, when I would see him around, I was like, yeah, Space Jam guy.
Like, fuck yeah.
Love this guy. But like, it's just, if I was a baseball player in like the 80s or 90s, and the New York Yankees were like, hey, you're the best shortstop in the league. I always wanted to be a shortstop. That's why I went with that position. I used to play baseball. I used to have dreams as a kid.
Little Jeter.
So, yeah, you know. If they said, you want to be on our team? I don't care who I'm on. I'm going to go. And that, now, I'll say, that's partly untrue. I'm a huge Sox fan. If I got to be the shortstop for the Chicago White Sox, I don't care if this is the worst team that ever existed. I'm on my team. But, like, I don't know, but I don't think Kevin Durant necessarily grew up wishing he could be on, any specific team. And if he was, I don't know if it was the team he was on.
Oh,
but
true, yeah.
If I'm him and the Golden State Warriors ask me to come onto their team, I think I have what it takes to be on the best team in the league. That's a compliment. I'm going to take it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because of the fact that it's the NBA. It's a broken system where if you're not on 1 or 2 specific teams, at least at that span of time, you're not going to get anything. You're not going to get a ring. And he deserves rings. He did, and he knew it. And I really don't see a problem with it. I understand why people see a problem in it, but I disagree.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Yeah, it's just, I don't really like Golden State. I think Steph Curry is a dick, and I think he is definitely the best pure shooter of this generation, hands down, but they need to split it up.
One of my favorite, all-time favorite anything ever that I've seen on the internet was this dude on the NBA subreddit who, for the record, because I care about saying this, I do not use Reddit. I found this from a Twitter guy I followed who was like, hey, look at this shit from Reddit. I have certain standards in my content. So this dude was saying, like, I know it's the stupidest thing, but technically there's no rules against just getting, like, 3 or 4 huge dudes with long arms to form a circle around Steph so he could just shoot from inside unblocked. Like, technically, could they do that? And the responses were generally like, probably, but immediately after they did that once, the league would come up with a rule to say you can't do that. But, like, how great would that be?
No, that'd be a great play.
His explanation was kind of like how you would defend your quarterback if you didn't know how football worked. And I was like, what a great description.
Get away, get away.
That was really great.
Oh, man.
Wow. O.J. Simpson. He was
stylistic icon.
He was an athlete turned actor.
That's
as well.
actually extremely relevant. Yeah.
I know.
Good point.
I
And
knew
he was genuinely.
I was gonna bring it up before you started talking about basketball. I was like, well, I guess I'll let them have this conversation.
Wait this one out. No, you're right. He was a really good one.
He was actually, and like he was in like comedic movies as well. Freaking, what was it? Naked
Wasn't he in
Gun?
Airplane?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, man. That fucking like 5-minute scene of him falling down is actually really fucking funny.
And like getting like he was dragged by the truck and getting shit to hit into him.
Yeah.
He was very good as an actor.
Yo, Jake, do you have the light, brother?
Which
Very
like
good.
it's weird. I would love to come out with that opinion. Like the saddest thing we lost was one of Hollywood's greats.
Jeez.
That's the thing, though. Like, what?
Yeah.
Imagine a timeline where he could just keep from killing people and constantly talking about it. Where he was like an imagine like a 2007. He gets like his real defining role as like in some kind of like $1 Million Baby type bullshit, and is an Oscar-winning actor. I love your idea. $1 Million Baby, yeah, like Space Jam. That's why we're friends. Because yes,
he gets his own Space Jam.
Listen, OJ, we need you to go steal your Heisman Trophy. One last time.
You know that lady you killed? Well, she still has his shirt.
I'm retired from killing people. If you don't kill this lady, they're gonna make us play at an amusement park. You gotta murder your wife, dude.
Oh my god.
I mean, they would have. Imagine what year did O.J. Simpson do that? Wait a minute.
94.
That could have literally been a competing movie with Space Jam.
Yeah.
They could have done it the same year.
They probably could have done it.
God.
But it probably would have been more in the light of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It would have been more adult than kid. Right? Wasn't Who Framed Roger Rabbit pretty adult?
Yeah, that chick was sexy as hell, too.
Yeah. Dude, Lola Bunny and what's her name?
Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica Rabbit.
Lola Rabbit.
Lola Rabbit.
Lola Rabbit. Jessica Bunny.
Bugs Fun.
Genghis Christie.
So I did actually watch Space Jam recently, and I was like, Lola Bunny is the reason furries exist.
Oh, most
she's
definitely.
100% the reason furries exist in our generation. That wasn't a thing really until.
Dang it, dude.
Or what was it beforehand?
Is there a female equivalent to Daffy?
No.
No.
They could never make a chick duck that sexy. Only
Girl's
bunny.
a duck.
Only bunnies. That was amazing.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, no, that was fucking fun, dude. Hanging out, talking bullshit.
You guys want to? I mean, how late are we staying here? Because I know you're the only person who gets this.
I don't really care. So whatever you guys want.
Would you boys want a pizza if we ordered a pizza?
That'd be cool with me. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'd be down. I don't have any cash, but I can Venmo you some money.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I have a card, but I can download Venmo if you want.
How about?
That is.
I have a card too, so. fuck it. Whatever, I'm gonna order Danico's.
One of you came up with the idea. Dude, I honestly, on the way here, I was thinking about getting a stadium pizza between the 3 of us from Danico's.
See, we're perfect friends.
We're actually like right next to Danico's, aren't we?
Yeah,
Just
we're
down the street there, yeah.
We can order it for here. We can go over there if you guys feel comfortable doing that. I don't care what you guys want to do.
Yeah, no, that'd be probably. I'm fine with that if we want to go there.
Do you want to do that? I think if you wanted to encapsulate every single thing that is my person, it's just like down to a science. For those of you listening at home,
keep it going, dude. Keep it going, dude.
No, this specific thing, this specific moment. Today, I went and canvassed for a DSA candidate. I was wearing a shirt that says unionize, and I was wearing like my sock shit. And we had a podcast where we fucking talked about Space Jam and whatever else the fuck we were talking about in detail. And now we are going to Danico's. So if you needed 24 hours worth of time to explain to someone who I am as a person, today was the day. This is everything right and wrong with me specifically.
No, we need to do a 24-hour podcast.
Straight the fuck up. I would do that for the
Yes.
if we can find,
we can do it for like a charity stream or something. If
not even, man.
No, if we had enough people that like would actually sit down and listen to us, I'd do a 24-hour like charity stream type thing. But I'm not fucking sitting down and doing a podcast for 24 hours. Fuck you.
We just don't
you
release.
Guys can do that.
We don't release these for another like 24 like for considering our rate of like production for like 3 more years. It's just put them all together. But yeah, I think on that note, we're gonna end this episode of No, but seriously. So, congratulations to the listeners at home. You
could also call it After the Fact. It's kind of late because it's the end of the show, but that's another name we could call it.
No, After the Fact is good. Hey, if you've been listening and you were wondering why this episode was titled After the Fact Episode 1, but we introduced it as something else, you made it to the twist ending. Welcome to After the Fact.
Alright.
And goodbye.